I spent a month in Japan and it made me realize just how bad life in Italy has become. But when you go to Japan, you're suddenly confronted with what living in a normal country is actually supposed to feel like. And in this video I'm going to tell you the things that shocked me the most. And trust me, when we get to point number 4, you probably won't believe what you're hearing. But yes, everything I'm about to tell you is 100% real. But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Alright, let's get straight into it. When you live in Europe, where they've somehow managed to make even water bottles annoying, Japan feels like stepping back into common sense. The very first thing you'll notice is the absolute punctuality of public transportation, train, buses, subways. During an entire month I didn't experience a single delay, not 5 minutes, not 5 seconds. They arrive and depart exactly on schedule, even when traveling dozens of hundreds of miles, and that allows you to plan your entire day with confidence. What's even crazier is that if a train is delayed by just a minute, conductors and staff will often apologize directly to passengers. And in Italy, yeah, good luck with that. I still remember a regional train trip years ago, a journey of about 30 miles that should have taken 1 hour. Instead, it took 3.5 in 40-degree heat because the air conditioning wasn't working. And nobody, not the conductor, not the staff, nobody even bothered to explain what was happening. No reason, no apology, nothing. As if that was completely normal. Looking at the state of many large European cities, I always assumed trash, graffiti and urban decay were simply part of city life. Then I went to Tokyo, the largest metropolitan area on Earth, nearly 30 million people. I explored the city from top to bottom and I barely saw any litter, no garbage, no sign of decay. And here is the crazy part, there are hardly any public trash cans, which means people simply carry their trash until they find somewhere to dispose of it properly. Meanwhile, in Italy, our capital city, Rome, literally has wild boars digging through garbage. And there are areas in cities like Milan, Naples and even Bologna that are drawing litter and neglect. Italian cities, parks, beaches and streets are also covered with millions of cigarette butts. In Italy it's considered completely normal to smoke right next to other people, and even more normal to throw the cigarette butts on the ground afterwards. In Japan, if you want to smoke outside, you often have to go to designated smoking areas like these. You step inside, smoke there and that's it. From a young age, Japanese students are taught to clean their own classrooms. They're taught to respect shared spaces. Football fans often clean up after themselves and take their trash home when they leave the stadium. It's fundamentally a cultural issue. In Japan, people are taught to respect places that belong to everyone. Unfortunately, that's something much of the West has lost. Here we have groups of activists who claim to care about society while vandalizing public property and historical monuments. In Japan, this kind of behavior is almost unthinkable because people are raised to respect their culture, tradition and community. We have already touched on how polite and respectful Japanese people are, but there is a lot more of it. Wherever there is a line to be formed, whether it's for the subway, a train or even just to buy food, people line up in an orderly way. Nobody tries to push ahead, nobody cuts in front of others. On train and buses, people don't talk loudly, nobody is shouting into their phone, nobody puts their feet on the seats. If an elderly person gets on, someone will usually stand up immediately and offer their seat. Even when public transport is packed, there's still a sense of calm, a sense of peace. You can actually relax during the journey. The only people making noise are usually tourists. And when you are crossing the street, drivers stop immediately. They let you cross. You don't have to play a real-life game of Frogger trying to dodge cars that refuse to slow down. But now let's talk about the thing that impressed me more than anything else. The thing that made me fall in love with Tokyo and with Japan as a whole. Here in Europe, we've been told for years that living with crime, violence and the risk of being attacked is simply part of life in a big city. It's normal, it's unavoidable, it's just how cities are. But what if it isn't? What if we have simply accepted something that shouldn't be considered normal at all? Think about it. Can you imagine walking alone at night through cities like Milan or Rome without feeling the need to stay alert, without worrying about getting robbed, assaulted or harassed? Sounds unrealistic, right? Well, in Japan that's normal. In Tokyo, the largest safest city on earth. It's completely normal to see young women walking alone late at night. The very first day I arrived in Japan, I was completely wrecked from jet lag. At around 4 in the morning, I decided to go for a walk in the park behind my hotel. Actually, before that, I stopped by a konbini and bought the first of what will become many of tuna mayo onigiri. For those who don't know, konbinis are convenience stores that stay open 24 hours a day. So that it was walking through a park at 4 in the morning, and honestly, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Young women in their 20s walking alone, completely relaxed. Some were jogging. One young woman was sitting on a bench with a MacBook on her lap. Others were eating into the subway station at 4 in the morning. Nobody looked nervous, nobody looked worried, nobody looked like they felt unsafe. And for someone like myself coming from Europe, this was genuinely shocking, because we have become so used to adjusting our behavior around crime and danger that we've started treating it as normal. In Japan, it simply isn't. Parks in Japan are clean, peaceful places surrounded by nature. On weekends, you'll see family having picnics, kids playing, and groups of friends enjoying time outdoors. They are places people actually want to spend time in. Back home, things often feel very different. The park in my hometown, for example, is known more for crime, public drunkenness, and broken glass than for being a place where family would want to relax. And it's not just Italy. In many Western countries, we've come to accept the idea that the public spaces, train stations, and subway systems are naturally rough, dirty, or even dangerous, as if that's simply the price of living in a modern city. Japan challenged that assumption completely. Something else that stood out to me was the level of trust. You will often see people leaving personal belongings unattended without worrying they will disappear. You will see coins left in shrine fountains. You will see bicycles parked without heavy chains and locks, and nobody touched them. Not because theft is impossible, but because respect for other people's property is deeply embedded in their culture. Meanwhile, in many Western countries, we are constantly told to keep one hand on our phone, another on our wallet, and to always watch our surroundings. We have adapted to a level of insecurity that many people now consider normal. In Japan, taking the subway can almost feel boring. Nobody is trying to pickpocket you, nobody is trying to open your backpack, nobody is looking for trouble, and honestly, it's amazing. Being able to watch through a city without constantly checking over your shoulder is something you don't fully appreciate until you've experienced it. Even in areas that are considered Tokyo's difficult neighborhoods, such as Kabukicho in Shinjuku, my girlfriend and I walked around at night without ever feeling unsafe. There was nightlife, there was crowds, there were plenty of people around, but there wasn't that underlying feelings of tension that you often get in many major Western cities. Not that Japan is perfect, no country is, but that a society can function very differently from what we've been taught to expect. Somehow we've accepted the idea that there are parts of our cities where you simply shouldn't go, that feeling unsafe at night is normal, that theft, vandalism and violence are unavoidable. Japan showed me that things don't have to be that way. Of course, Japan isn't perfect, every country has its problems, and spending a month there as a tourist probably make it harder to notice some of them. There are issues like social pressure, a very demanding work culture, the difficulty many adults face when trying to build new friendship. That being said, the things we've talked about in this video, especially safety, cleanliness and respect, shouldn't be extraordinary. They should be the foundation of any healthy society. Being able to walk through a park without fear, being able to take public transportation without worrying about getting robbed, living in clean and well-maintained cities, these shouldn't be luxuries, they should be normal. Unfortunately, that's not the reality many of us experience today in the West. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share it with someone who might be interested. Thank you so much for watching, see you in the next video.